Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the second part of the unit 4th, literary terms. Literary terms we are having in our syllabus, they include dramatic monologue, sprung rhythm, inscape, in stress, war poetry, ballad, free verse, blank verse, idylls, irony, epic, heroic couplet, and conceit. These are the terms we are to discuss in this particular chapter. We are going to start with dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue is half poem and half drama in which a single fictional or historical character other than the poet speaks to a silent audience, constituting one or more persons. This form of poetry was perfected by Robert Browning. The main characteristic features of dramatic monologue are: number one, a single person, but not the poet, utters the words presented in the entire poem in a specific situation. Number two, the protagonist addresses and interacts with one or more persons, and the reader is aware of the presence of the audience and their reaction. Number three, the monologue is so organized that its focus is on the temperament and character that the dramatic speaker unintentionally reveals in the course of what he says. In other words, the dramatic monologue aims at the psychoanalysis of the protagonists. Such poems, which are considered dramatic monologues, reveal the mind of the character whose personality is revealed unwittingly. This distinguishes a dramatic monologue from a lyric. While the implied presence of a listener distinguishes it from soliloquy, it differs from aside, since in a dramatic monologue, the other character also hear what is uttered by the speaker. The examples of this form in English literature are Tennyson's Ulysses, which published in 1842, Browning's My Last Duchess, published in 1842, Fra Lippo Lippi, again by Browning, it published in 1855, Andrea del Sarto in 1855, Rabbi Ben Ezra in 1864, and T.S. Eliot's The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, that published in 1917. In this way, dramatic monologue is a type of poem in which there is a single speaker who speaks throughout the poem. There are one or more than one listeners. Listeners are silent, they do not take part in the conversation. The entire dialogue of the entire speech of the speaker reveals the mental quality, the psychology, as well as the character of the speaker. Now we come to the second literary term of our syllabus, that is sprung rhythm. One of the technical innovations introduced by Hopkins in his poetry is a meter to which he gave the name sprung rhythm. Hopkins did not altogether invent sprung rhythm. It was used in Greek and the Old English verse, referring to one of his poems. Hopkins wrote to Bridges in his Letters of Hopkins to Bridges. He writes, "No, but what it is like is the rhythm of Greek tragic courses of Pindar, which is pure sprung rhythm, and that has the same change of cadence from point to point as this piece, talking about a particular poem. In sprung rhythm, Hopkins substituted accents or stresses for quantity. Sprung rhythm consists of scanning by accents or stresses alone, without counting the number of weak or strong syllables, so that a foot may be one strong syllable or it may be many light and one strong. Hopkins' innovations contrast with traditional prosody, where the line is built of a number of regular feet. Feet could be disyllabic or trisyllabic, but could differ very little from line to line. The number of syllables per line was consequently fixed. Hopkins scrapped the idea of a fixed quantity of syllables and all or any number of syllables per line. He, however, did not discard all form and order. To organize verse written in sprung rhythm, he adopted the device of a fixed number of stresses per line with a provision for additional stresses, calling them outriding feet. Hopkins catalogs the main features of sprung rhythm as distinguished from traditional standard rhythm. The features are: number 1, sprung rhythm consists of scanning by stresses or accents. Number 2, sprung rhythm is the rhythm of common speech. Number 3, it is the rhythm of all except the most monotonously regular music. Number 4, it is found in nursery rhymes. Number 5, it arises in common verse when reversed or counter pointed. That's all about the term sprung rhythm. Rest of the terms we shall discuss in our next class. Thank you very much.